This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Tom, I'll be honest here.
Okay.
I'll give you the straight dope.
Uh-oh.
Not so hot at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It smells like poop in here.
Oh, is something going on with you?
No, Tom. I have a small child, a son,
Uh-huh.
a baby in the house.
Yeah.
He does not yet
Poop
know
in the
how to
toilet?
use a toilet. Yeah. As much as I've told him, I see him pooping. I can tell on his face when he's pooping, and I'm just like, go, get in the bathroom. We got a place for this. He insists. On just
pooping his pants.
Wherever he is, whenever he wants.
Oh,
yeah.
like father, like son.
Hey, look, nobody's going to tell me what to do.
It's a free country.
Exactly. You trying to step on my freedoms, Tom? I have First Amendment rights.
Yeah, no, I've gotten into that argument with you before, Tim, and I haven't liked how you win it.
We've got a thing called a diaper genie, Tom. Do you know about a diaper genie?
Like the one in Aladdin?
You would think so. You would think it'd be a big blue loud, charismatic guy that eats diapers.
Right.
And when once he eats those diapers, they're not a problem anymore. They don't stink up your whole dang apartment.
Yeah.
You'd be wrong. It's just like a garbage pail that, I think they claim that this technology makes it so that your whole apartment doesn't smell like poop. Your whole apartment still smells like poop.
Specifically what they claim. We'll make
said it
sure
right
your
there on the
whole
box.
apartment doesn't smell like poop.
It's just like a garbage pail.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does it have like a seal at the top or something?
No, I mean it's got this thing. It's like a regular garbage pail, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like a little porthole that you open.
Yeah.
And it's a little circle that you open up, and then you shove the dirty diaper in there, and then you close it again.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't have any twisting motion or something.
It's not like the
off.
thing at the bank or something where.
No, that's what we should get. Some sort of airtight vacuum suction.
Yeah,
Did
like
you
the
ever
pneumatic tubes.
Tom, I know you've been watching a lot of The Cosby Show lately. Do you remember that episode where Theo got his own apartment and they had pneumatic tubes and they used it to get sodas from the kitchen?
What? No, I never really watched The Cosby Show growing up. I always had a feeling.
Yeah, you've been binging it on
I
a
had
loop for the last year.
Even as a child, that there was something wrong with Bill Cosby. But I've never seen that, and that's insane. That's an insane thing to show children and have them expect as an option when they grow up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ever since then, I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm moving out as soon as I'm able.
I want a pneumatic tube that I can get sodas through.
Yeah.
I
didn't really like soda as a kid.
Yeah.
The bubbles were too intense for me.
Well, you were about
Sorry,
a real tough kid. I went camping last spring, and it was like a private campground, so it was like a private site, and there was no place to go to the bathroom there except for a bucket with kitty litter and trash bags. And
where was this? When did you do this?
For my birthday last year.
Oh, wow.
And
you didn't tell me you pooped in a bucket for your birthday?
Yeah, man. That was the only thing I wanted to do. That was actually fine. The whole pooping in a bucket thing, because you could either do it there was a big canvas tent that we were staying in. So it's you could either do it in there by yourself. You could be like, hey, I need the tent for a little while. Or I didn't want to do it in the tent because then I was like you said, the whole tent will smell like poop. So I dragged the bucket into the woods and did it there. And then
How heavy was the bucket that you had to drag it?
It had a lot of kitty litter in it. I mean, it was more that.
How often did they change the kitty? Were there previous?
Well, no.
People's...
You, Tim. It was self-reliance at its finest. You were in charge of all that stuff. So
that's how the pioneers did it. They had to lug their own kitty litter.
Right. Well, there was kitty litter there, but it was like every time you went to the bathroom, I mean, I guess you could not change it if you wanted to. We chose to change it. We chose to have a nice time. So we, you'd use the bathroom, you'd use the toilet, and then tie up the garbage bag and put it in. There was like a can there. But then at the end of everything, you had to take everything with you.
Right. Yeah, I bet. Let me guess. You didn't.
No, you had to. So,
let me guess. You dumped it in the river.
No, I did find a gas station that they were remodeling nearby that had like a dumpster, sitting there. So I threw it in there.
My favorite thing to do, probably the riskiest thing I do is throw things in dumpsters that I'm not supposed to throw things into.
Yeah, there's like a dumpster near me for a restaurant, and occasionally I'll put my dog's poop in there, but I'm always kind of nervous because like it's a diner and like I use that diner fairly frequently.
I mean, what do you want you expect the dumpster to be pristine?
No, but I just think that they would be like, hey, this is our dumpster. You know how people in New York are.
Yeah. But also, like, I don't think
I'm going to order a hamburger and it's going to come with all my dog's poop and they're going to be like, you dropped this.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I don't know how vindictive they would be if you put like a very small bag in a very large dumpster.
No.
I'm talking about, remember when we were roommates, Tom, back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
We'd like, when we got rid of furniture, we would just like find a dumpster on the next street throw it in there. That's the kind of thrill
like
that I'm
a place
for.
that was remodeling or something. You just go bring your bulk trash to there.
Yeah, and like take up a good amount of room in that dumpster. Teach them for leaving a dumpster out on the street all night.
Exactly. Take that stuff inside at night. But I just remember having, first off, the amount of poop and in fairness, well, not really my pee because I'm a boy, but my girlfriend would pee in the toilet.
All right.
I would go and pee in the woods like a man. But the amount
pretty tough, Tom.
The amount of poop and pee two people produce mixed with kitty litter, made these bags like it was like concrete. It was so heavy. And then B, it was like the kitty litter is supposed to stop the smell and everything, and you have to take this stuff off site. I like put it in the trunk of my car, and I thought I was gonna pass out. I thought I was gonna puke. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Just driving this to the dumpster.
I think plumbing is definitely
a good idea.
The most underrated innovation, and I guess it's not all that new these days.
No.
That we have. It's the most underrated luxury that we have.
No,
right?
I mean, remember when we went to the sanitation, or what was it called? Like the water treatment?
The waste treatment.
Waste treatment, yeah. It was fascinating what they do with everybody's poop and pee. Nothing gross.
No, you're like all legal. It's all above board.
Yeah.
They have inspectors go in there. I'm sure they do a background check for all the guys they hire.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about how like horrifying it was when they revealed, sometimes if there's like a lot of rain or a lot of people are using the toilet, we have to temporarily just dump everything in the river without treating it. And I remember like everybody was like, oh my God. But then I was thinking like, I mean, what else would they do with it? What's the other option? Have it go back up the toilets?
This has been my thing. Like, it's just magical.
Yeah.
And like we've grown up, at least where we're from, we've grown up just being like, nope, we all have these things in our houses that magically take this away, like the worst stuff you can imagine. They take it away from you effectively
the worst
and forever.
Thing in the home, there's a special appliance that gets rid of it. Except if if it belongs to a baby, apparently.
Yeah, and where does it go? Don't worry about it. Nobody's asking you to worry about it. Just they'll take care of it. You might not want to know, but like you don't have to worry.
Yes, sometimes it goes in the river. just as is.
Who's hanging out in the East River anyway, Tom?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, certainly not.
Oh
me
no,
now.
there's poop in there sometimes. That's the reason I'm not going in there.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of part of their explanation, that it was like, look, the river's gross anyway. If anything, we're making it better by putting poop and pee in there. Tim, you should come up with there should be, instead of a diaper genie, there should be a diaper toilet.
Yeah, some sort of. I mean, I think that could be part of the pneumatic tube system that I'm.
Look, the pneumatic tube system should be for one thing or the other. You know, get maybe two pneumatic tube systems while you're getting everything put in.
That's true, because like sometimes like I could see the sides of the tube.
All it needs is to happen
smeared.
one time, Tim,
Yeah,
and you won't want to drink
one
any
blowout,
soda
you're
out of
screwed.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess you could just get like a wider toilet. I also remember, like, anytime I've been like somewhere even remotely rural upstate, if they know you're from New York City, they're like, don't put diapers in the toilet.
People put diapers in the toilet?
I don't think so, but that's what everybody assumes everybody does in New York City. Are you now Googling, can I just put diapers in the toilet?
No, I was trying to Google if I could get a picture of Theo's pneumatic tube soda delivery system to show you.
I don't think you're going to be able to find that online.
I don't know. The internet.
You'll have to draw me a picture of it someday.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go through your DVD. Did you upgrade to the Blu-ray set, Tim? Because you wanted to support the doctor?
I don't think the Cosby Show ever got released on Blu-ray. I think it's certainly not 4K Blu-ray, and probably never will be.
It's a damn shame.
It is. What's going on with him now? He's out of jail?
Yeah, he's out.
Isn't he supposed to have died a while ago?
He's 1,000 years old.
Yeah. So, I mean, usually when people are 1,000 years old, they die.
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
Also, he was doing that thing where he's playing it up, right? Like suddenly one day, like he was walking into the courtroom when they were sentencing him, and he's like, "I forgot to tell you guys, I'm blind."
Yeah, now I'm
blind now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were talking about the other week with Harvey Weinstein saying, like, jail is inhumane. I don't have a watch.
Yeah,
but same thing with him.
Another one.
He
showed
pulled out
up
the
and
walker.
Suddenly, he had a walker. Like 2 months earlier, he was like,
he was the perfect picture of health 2 months earlier.
A model human being.
He looked like Chris Hemsworth. He could do backflips and everything, and now all of a sudden he's a big fat guy with a walker. Yeah, these guys aren't on the up and up, if you ask me. I don't think you can trust them.
Something's fishy there.
Tim, there have unfortunately been a lot of beloved people dying recently. Beloved celebrities.
Betty White.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Saget. That one hurts.
Yeah, really sad.
Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier. Yeah, and we're not doing an episode about any of them. We're doing one about Robert Durst, a.k.a. the Jinx.
The Jinx. Release the Jinx.
First off, nobody ever proclaimed release the Jinx except for the Jinx himself.
Yeah, no, that was my prediction of when our last president was inaugurated. I thought he'd just come out and his whole speech would be release the Jinx, and then go and then like all sorts of crazy things. Was it like it would be like the Penguin, like all the henchmen would come out.
Yeah, and then the Jinx would just like come shuffling out from behind a curtain.
Yeah.
You had asked before if we were gonna name this episode Robert Durst or if it was gonna be named the Jinx. And
right.
And I said to you, that's like, are we gonna name the episode Clark Kent or Superman?
Right. And you revere the Jinx as if he were the Superman.
Yeah, and as much as Clark Kent, who is a pretty good journalist in his own right.
And in your mind, Dr. Cosby is like a Captain America style.
Robert Durst, the Jinx, has supposedly passed away. I don't know whose word we're taking for this.
I mean, he's another one. He in that courtroom, Tom.
Yeah.
The Jinx looked rough that day.
Yeah, the Jinx did. I mean, but who knows with him? Anyway, but you know what?
When your mugshot involves you having to have oxygen tubes hooked up to your face,
yeah,
you're in a bad way.
But we're not, Tim. Some people are listening to this and they're like, "Who the hell's the goddamn Jinx?" And to them, I would say it's Robert Durst, but they might say, "Okay, I don't know who that is either." So I think we have to start with kind of a recap. We both became aware of the Jinx because of the HBO documentary, The Jinx.
Well, no, Tom, I'm very plugged into the New York City real estate scene.
Oh, I did know of him before that documentary. I mean, yeah, you're joking about being plugged into the New York City real estate scene, but like the local papers in New York City, that's like headline news, anything some like big real estate developer does.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think we probably were aware of him as like a weird guy that shows up on the cover of the Daily News and the Post every once in a while.
Yeah. So the Jinx is he's this old man. Well, now he's a dead man.
Yeah.
But he was the son of a really big real estate developer. What is it? Durst Properties is their company, I think. And there's Seymour Durst.
You know what Seymour Durst his claim to fame is, Tom?
What's that?
He invented the national debt clock.
Oh.
You know that clock that is like, this is how much the U.S. is in debt, and it's basically like, stop spending money, lower my taxes. These, which would have been like, we're in so much debt, I guess you better raise my taxes because I'm.
Yeah, it's always seemed like a real weird argument.
Yeah, but yeah, the Durst organization.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought Seymour Durst's claim to fame was having the Jinx as a son.
I thought he was famous for seeing additional Dursts, viewing additional Dursts.
Wait, oh, I see. Because his name was Seymour. Tim, is the only thing you know about Seymour the name Seymour Butts?
Yeah.
All right. Let's just make sure we got that out of the way. Is any of the other stuff you said about him even true?
The debt clock, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, big real estate family. And yeah, I mean, growing up here, like the Durst is the obviously Trump and like Leona Helmsley.
Yes.
It was just
the Queen of Mean.
The Queen of Mean. She left all of her money to a dog, her dog. I think something like that.
Then I married that dog.
and that explains your obscene wealth today.
And then that dog mysteriously passed away 3 months later.
Yeah. Interesting. And you've been wearing that diamond-studded dog collar ever since.
That's purely a coincidence, Tom.
I wear it in my deceased wife's memory.
The Durst family fortune is estimated to be $8.1 billion.
Jeez, that's a lot of money. So basically, they had a few kids. I think there are 3 kids Seymour Durst had: Wendy, Douglas, and Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dougie.
What was that?
Dougie Durst.
Dougie Durst. This is kind of like a Succession scenario here. You've got the 3 kids all vying for the kingdom.
Right. Except and I guess there's like one weird one that they would never ever give it to.
Yeah. So the other kids, by all accounts, are like, just normal, obscenely rich,
shitheads. Yeah.
awful people.
Yeah.
But Robert Durst, he eschewed all that. He said, I don't really care about the money. All I want to do is be like a murderer. I want to be a real weird murderer guy.
Yeah.
So he went away to school, I think maybe on the West Coast, but then like started like a health foods shop in the 70s. He met like another person who was into like, at the time, new agey type things, I guess, like health food. And they got married. And then like a decade later, that woman disappeared. Her name was Kathleen McCormick.
Right.
Now, one of the crazy things about this is that at the time, he had been dating Prudence Farrow for 3 years.
The woman who Dear Prudence, the best Beatles song, was written for.
And the younger sister of Mia Farrow.
Right.
Those Farrow women really knew how to pick men, huh? And that was like part of his claim that basically he like wasn't really involved in her life at that time, that they weren't living together. But meanwhile, she had shown up at like a friend's party, I think upstate was like the last time she was seen. And she was wearing like sweatpants, which was unusual because she was normally like very put together and like into fashion. And she was never seen again. Robert Durst. It was found out later that she had shown up at a hospital all bruised up and said he had beat her up 3 weeks before.
Right.
She had asked for a divorce. She had asked for a divorce settlement of $250,000, which when your family's worth $8.1 billion and you've been dating somebody else for 3 years, you think you would say like, fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Let's just settle this. But no, he gave this big long story about like that he put her on a train and she went somewhere else and blah, blah, blah. But then later in this documentary, he said, that's just what I told police. I was hoping that that would just make everything go away.
I mean, in his defense, like,
all right.
All of this stuff, no, not in his defense for the awful things he did, but people are like, oh, he's so stupid. Like, I can't believe he did that documentary and said all that stuff. Like, to be fair, like, all this stuff happened, like, decades before.
Yeah.
He never suffered any consequences. The first consequence he really faced was, like, a few days before he died.
Yeah, I mean...
So they were like, what an idiot. He did all this. He's like, he lived to 78 and got away with everything except at the last minute. And they're going to overturn that. They're going to vacate that conviction.
This particular, disappearance that was later, still nobody ever found. Her family was able to eventually get her declared legally dead. Robert Durst was charged with her murder October 22nd, 2021. So just a few months ago at the time of recording this was when he was charged, and then he died, a few months later. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure the last couple of years of his life haven't been that pleasant, but also like even an ultra rich person in police custody probably lives better than you or I does. Well, especially during a pandemic.
Yeah,
like I'm sure his surroundings were nicer than our apartments.
Well, I mean, and that's what I mean. Normally, we don't cover like true crime type of things on this podcast. Although we should, if we want to be millionaires.
Yeah,
we could be the next Dursts if we had done that. But I think one of the things that fascinates me so much about this entire case, and there's a lot more to talk about, but that basically there's just like At what point do you not even have to care about getting caught, but just by virtue of being so rich, you just won't go to jail, even if you don't really try that hard?
Right. I feel like the threshold isn't that high.
No, I don't think the threshold's that high, but I also think there's
it's like a couple million.
But I think there's like a secondary threshold of like, even if you try, even if you like brag about just making up your alibis on a HBO documentary, you still
just to be weird, just
just to be weird,
just to be totally random. That's what Robert Durst prided himself on. He was just like, if you had to describe me in one phrase, it would be this: totally random.
So he after his first wife disappeared, he offered $100,000 for his wife's return, then reduced the reward to $15,000. I've never heard of somebody reducing a reward. Again, when neither of these amounts of money would even notice.
You know what, Tom?
What?
That is a brilliant scheme, because he knew that she was dead, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, oh, bring her back to me alive. I'll give you $100,000, right? And then he's like, on second thought, make that $15,000. People are like, oh, well, if like he knew that nobody could collect on it.
He must be scared that somebody's gonna find her.
Exactly. And so like if like
he doesn't want to make it too
dead,
enticing.
he'd be like, you know what, make it $100 million, because
yeah,
he would be sure. So pretty savvy move on the score one for the Jinx.
When one of McCormick's friends and her sister found out that she had been reported missing, they broke into her cottage hoping to find her. Instead, they found the cottage ransacked, all of her mail left unopened, and all of her belongings in the trash. Also at her New York City apartment, I think like 3 weeks after she was missing, they found all of her belongings in a trash compactor. He had apparently just thrown everything out. Again, not being very like, oh no, my wife's missing, I hope she comes back, by just being like, nah, she's gone. Let me get rid of her shit.
Smash it up good, burn it.
Yeah. So that's the beginning of the Jinx's trouble, but that is certainly not the weirdest stuff he did. No. That came later with this woman, Susan Berman. Now, what's important about her is she provided the alibi for him.
These weirdos will always turn on you.
So she, I forget exactly what the alibi was, but it helped establish that like, oh, he couldn't have had anything to do with her disappearing. You know, I was with him or whatever. Now she is the daughter of a 1940s gangster.
These people, I feel like certain people like. You should be taken away from certain families at birth and not know about it. Like I don't think the ultra rich should be able to have kids that they're allowed to raise. I think you just have to like put them with a normal family. And also 1940s gangsters shouldn't be able to be like, and I'll raise this daughter.
I mean, I was gonna say it sounds like he didn't pass along his like gangster instincts to her. Because she got, you know, charmed by Robert Durst in a way, and provided cover for him. And I feel like if her dad knew about it, her dad would have been like, "See, yeah, you can't be trusting guys like this."
Right. She would be like when Robert Durst came to be like, "You have to give this alibi for me." Mm-hmm. She'd be like, okay, but I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get the hell out of my office. 1, 2, 10, and then you pump them full of lead.
Yeah. Robert Durst kind of looks like the guy like a 1940s gangster would be like, hey, you're not going to talk, see? Well, we have ways to make you talk. Come on in, Doc. And Robert Durst comes in with like a little case, and he opens it up, and there's a bunch of stuff that looks like dentistry tools. But he's there to torture on behalf of the mob. And the mob doesn't even have to pay him just because he likes doing it so much.
He just does it for jollies.
Yeah.
Because he's weird and random.
Yes. Robert Durst, so random. That's what it says on his tombstone, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so back to the Jinx. Susan Berman is second victim, presumably. I forget. Oh no, she doesn't go missing. They find her murdered execution style, like a bullet to the back of the head.
Right. That's how they do executions, Tom.
Yeah. So, and also, very coincidentally, that night, Robert Durst flew from San Francisco back to New York. I believe she was either living in San Francisco or LA, but she was on the West Coast. He was on the West Coast when this happened and then flew back. And then again, the brazenness in a 2005 deposition, he said that she had called him shortly before her death to say the LAPD wanted to talk to her about McCormick's disappearance. So he's basically telling the cops, like, oh yeah, she called me and told me like they were on to me and they were going to talk to her. So of course I had to go and execute her, so she couldn't do that. And then later,
it just seems like were the detectives just like too lazy to follow up. Is this just like paperwork that they didn't feel like doing?
I think a lot of it was, and we'll get to the next murder that we know he committed. It's just he had unlimited access, and I feel like murder cases, it's kind of like, how you try and get out of like a parking ticket by I don't think this happens anymore because everything's computerized, but like back in the day when parking tickets were handwritten, it was like, oh, if they screwed up something on this, if they didn't fill it out exactly right, then you could have the whole ticket dismissed.
Was that a myth? That couldn't have worked, right?
No, it did work, but I think it was just very rare to actually have that happen. These parking cops, that's their job. So they know how to fill out the pretty basic form correctly, right, so that their tickets don't get thrown out of court.
Did you ever try to go fight a speeding ticket?
No, I've never gotten a speeding ticket, I don't think. Or maybe no, I got one once in Virginia. The time the guy wouldn't let me go, even though I worked for America's Most Wanted.
Oh yeah, you like being part of a corrupt system.
Tim, America's Most Wanted was not part of a corrupt system. We were maybe even the only real heroes out there.
I was pulled over for
me as
speeding.
Production intern, cataloging tapes, opening up viewer mail.
I got a speeding ticket one time, and as the police officer was writing it, he's like, this is going to be really expensive, but you can go fight it, and they'll, just say I was lying, and they'll bump it down.
Well, that's nice.
I guess. I don't know. I had to take an afternoon off work and go to the courthouse.
Or you could have just paid the whole thing. Or, did you ever think of this? Maybe don't break the law in the first place, Tim?
Tom, I can't help it. I'm a natural thrill seeker.
And then, Tim, what are you doing? You're pulling the same move as the Jinx. You're now admitting this in a piece of media. And, by the time you're an 80-year-old man, you'll be the one that's got a mugshot with oxygen tubes.
Yeah,
and they'll like, you talked
man.
about it
Pay
on the
us
podcast.
$150.
So, of course, this woman gets killed. And they're like, oh, this woman's like best friend is this guy who definitely murdered his ex-wife. Or his, at the time, current wife. Let's go talk to him. I guess stupidly they talk to his sister first. So his sister gives him a heads up, like, hey, the police, they're interested in you, because somebody
You obviously murdered that lady.
yeah, because somebody executed Susan Berman, a woman who it doesn't seem like anybody else had a reason to execute. So, and you told the cops that that you talked to her and that she told you that they were interested. So Robert Durst does what anyone does when they're faced with the prospect of potentially being arrested and charged with a murder. He decides to go undercover as a mute woman
In Galveston, Texas.
Yeah, he moves as
It's nice. This is like a novel too. It's like, oh, and now we're moving to like Galveston, Texas for this weird chapter.
yeah, where it's like, look, all right, we already did the story in like New York City, the Big Apple. We did it out west,
Tinseltown,
west in the like 70s and 80s during like the New Age movement, and all that stuff. Now let's move to Galveston, Texas for a different type of story, and let's switch things up. Let's have the protagonist become a mute woman.
Tom, say what you will about the Jinx, but did you ever have the Goose play you in a movie with Kiki Dunst
No.
opposite?
To translate again, Tim is talking about there was a movie called All Good Things that starred Ryan Gosling as Robert
The
Durst, the Goose, and Kirsten Dunst, aka
Kiki.
Dunst, as Kathleen McCormick, I believe, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I never saw the movie.
And the movie was directed by a movie director, and after the movie came out, Robert Durst reached out to him and was like, "Hey, put me in the DVD extras." The guy that you made this movie about how I definitely murdered my wife, and that director is the one who went on to make the documentary about the Jinx.
The Jinx, Andrew Jarecki.
So you might think, all right, Robert Durst, he's taken on the guise of a mute woman. He's living in Galveston, Texas. Surely all of his problems are behind him now. He's got a fresh start in life. No. He murdered somebody else living in the boarding house with him.
Yeah.
So he was living in a boarding house.
Neighbor?
Yeah. Like an across the hall neighbor.
Right.
So
Which the guy has like $65 million and he's living in Galveston, Texas in a freaking apartment. All he had to do is just not murder these ladies, Robert Durst.
Yeah. So I forgot about that part too, that I guess he was mad, even though he didn't want to take over the family business, that he wasn't asked. So he got into like he sued his family. And he walked away with $65 million, which, seems like a very small sum compared to what they had.
Would you walk away from your family for $65 million?
Oh, I'd walk away from my family for $65,000, Tim. I'd walk away from everything.
Yikes. All right.
No, I mean, and like he didn't even walk away. Seemingly, he still threatened to kill his brother constantly. I think it was more just like, he felt like he was cut out of everything, probably because he was crazy and because he seemed to not want anything to do with all that stuff. But I do think it's crazy when...
How fucked up do you think that family is? Like, that family. Like,
oh, yeah.
We're like, oh, the Jinx is a real asshole. It's like, I'm sure like the things that Robert Durst saw throughout his life were like chilling.
So that was part of it, that he claims that Robert Durst's mother killed herself and by jumping off the roof of their house. And he claims that like a few minutes before it happened, his dad went and got him and was like, "Hey, come to the window. Let's go watch your mom." And that like brought him to the window. And then and he watched his mom jump to her death. Which I guess like other family members have claimed isn't true. And I don't know what to think. Like it could, I mean, he would make something like that up, but also it's like, I could see that being a real crystal clear origin story for the Jinx. of that's when he learned, death was the solution to life's problems.
Just like picturing that kid all his life, like wandering the halls of like some dark, shadowy estate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Echoey, big and empty.
Yeah. Drafty.
All the help avoiding him.
Yeah, because he looks like Damien.
Yeah, torturing animals and stuff.
Mm.
So he claims that while he's living I don't know exactly what the case was with this boarding house, if it was like for particular types of people, because it seemed like there were a lot of old people there, maybe.
Yeah. How old was he at the time? He was like 50 or something, right?
Yeah, probably around there, 50, 60. So yeah, not super old, but he was pretending to be older and a woman and mute. But
right.
He claims that this old man, Morris Black, went and found Robert Durst's gun, that he knew where it was, that he grabbed it, and Robert Durst, of course, tried to get it back from him, and that they tussled over it. And during the fight, Morris Black was accidentally shot in the head. And now, because Robert Durst is already on the run, he decided, oh no, well, they're never going to believe me if I just tell them, oh, I was just pretending to be a mute woman, and this guy accidentally got shot as we were both fighting over the gun. He decides the best course of action is to cut the body up into little pieces and try and get rid of it by throwing it into the river or the bay.
Again,
I forget which one.
Tom, you're mocking him like, oh, he thought this would be... He got away with it. It worked.
Well, but
he did worked.
But the crazy thing is, he got away with it because they... apparently in where he was, at least in Texas, not that there are no laws against what he did, what he claims to have done, but that that the laws aren't very, I don't know, they don't carry big sentences of like mutilating a body.
Right.
And because they never found this guy Morris Black's head, so nobody could ever prove Robert Durst's story was true or not true, because they couldn't find the head that he, and see like, oh yeah, he was shot in the head.
Right.
Although I still don't think that would have really proved anything.
None of this makes sense. Like, you can't just hide a body part and be like, oh, you didn't find the whole body. I'm innocent.
Yeah. So but again, he was going up against Galveston prosecutors with like the best lawyers money could find, that basically just argues to the jury, like, the prosecution cannot, they can't prove that our client's story isn't the truth, because they can't prove even that he didn't get shot in the head.
Right.
He got caught.
This is the best part.
At this time, he was shoplifting in a Wegmans. He was shoplifting Band-Aids.
Don't shoplift at a Wegmans.
Yeah.
This place is classy.
He was again dressed as a mute woman, and he was shoplifting Band-Aids, a newspaper, and a chicken salad sandwich. He had $500 cash in his pocket, but he was shoplifting those 3 items. And then
You've been known to shoplift for the thrill of it, Tom. Can you explain your thinking behind that? Do you think that's what he was doing?
No, I don't shoplift for the thrill of it. I shoplifted once a few years ago. I shoplifted a hat from a Walmart, and it was more out of laziness because I was using the self-checkout, and I didn't realize this dumb hat I wanted to buy didn't have a price tag on it. So I couldn't scan it, and I didn't want to go back and get another one, so I just put it in the bag and figured it's fine. It's Walmart.
I almost shoplifted a can of beans from a supermarket.
1930s hobo.
I was out getting ingredients for a dip my
Mhm.
sister-in-law was making for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We were all together, and I went to a Long Island supermarket, and I just needed one can of beans.
Oh, and there was like a
And,
crazy line.
Crazy line, maskless people, just like, and I was just like, this costs 89 cents. I'll put $2 near the door and just walk out.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I'm a coward. I had my brother go wait online, and I waited outside.
Like, you wait in line. I'm going to get sick. So not only that, then they found in his car $37,000 in cash, 5 ounces of weed, which is a lot.
Where did he get that?
I don't know. Oh no, this is I'm sorry. They found $42,000, a .38 revolver, 4 bullets, and 1 spent bullet.
That's where he got all that weed.
Yeah, 5 ounces of weed, which is like, even if he was like a heavy weed smoker, that's like a lot of weed.
Was he gonna like become a guy that you meet in the parking lot of the diner and be like?
No, like I kind of got the impression that, because like there aren't other stories, at least that I've seen, of like, oh yeah, and he was like Snoop Dogg. He always had a joint in his mouth.
He likes to party.
I think it was more that he was like liked to smoke weed occasionally or maybe even regularly, and was like, I've got to go into hiding for like a year, so I need to make sure I've got enough. He had a flesh-colored latex mask with him, a fake ID. In addition to the $42,000, he also had a UPS tracking number that led to a package with $117,000 in it and a pair of shoes that his friend had sent him from New York City.
They must have been nice shoes.
Yeah. And
Bruno Mali's, do you think?
And apparently, well, that is the official shoe of murderers. And apparently he was going to flee to Cuba.
Right.
At that time. So he got, actually, I believe that might have been later. I'm not sure which time that was.
They should send him to Cuba, right to Guantanamo Bay, if you ask me.
Well, he's dead, Tim, so I don't know what good that would be.
They should send his body there.
But so he got like time served
to scare the inmates there. They should bring
like, it's been 20 years and this guy won't talk.
No, I think they
send
should just
in the Jinx.
Have a traveling a traveling show where they bring the body of the Jinx from city to city to spook people.
Like
set them up in like a kind of pose,
like the bodies exhibit, but for the Jinx.
Yeah, exactly.
So this Morris Black, he was acquitted of murder. He got like a little bit of time for dismembering the body and stuff, but it was like time served, so he got away scot-free. But like the one rule was you gotta stay out of town. We don't want you back in Galveston. He got caught back in Galveston because the trial judge saw him at a mall walking around.
You just leave. You're fine now.
Yeah, but he went back to a mall, and I think he went back to the boarding house, like the things he was told specifically not to do. Now, I didn't know about this. I think maybe they mentioned this in the documentary, and maybe I just forgot. But there's at least 2 other disappearances that they think he might have been responsible for. One was a college freshman who visited his health food store in 1971 the day she disappeared, and she was last seen that afternoon near a bus stop across the street from the store. And let me see. Oh, and then another one, the different woman that Mitchell, her last name was, And she went missing in 1997 from Eureka, Oregon. And the credit card records place Robert Durst in Eureka at the time. And they believe...
You know what? When the detective got that
Jesus
credit
Christ.
card statement, you know what he said?
The woman may have volunteered in a homeless shelter that Durst was frequenting, again, because...
Frequenting a homeless shelter. Yeah.
While I don't know if he was pretending to be mute, but he was dressed in women's clothing. He had visited a shoe store owned by this woman's aunt, and she was last seen walking to work from her aunt's store and possibly speaking to somebody in a stopped car. And a witness sketch of the person she was talking to resembled Robert Durst. So 2 other disappearances where he was one of the last people seen near speaking with these women who then disappeared 10 minutes later and were never ever heard from again.
Right. And seemingly all this stuff they just never follow up on.
Or they do, and it's just in fairness to him, it seems like he's very good at getting rid of bodies, except for that one guy.
Yeah.
And they just don't, they've just kind of got nothing to go on except for the common sense of, well, look at this guy's background, look at his history. I mean, that's why the documentary is called The Jinx, because it's either this guy's an incredibly cunning murderer, or he's just the most unlucky guy ever that just keeps being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Which, that's possible also. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say he also had 7 huskies named Igor. All of them were named Igor. And
not at the same time, right?
No.
Did each one succeed the one before it?
Yeah. They all disappeared suspiciously.
Disappeared?
Yep. Just people don't... There's a recording of him where he's talking about his brother Douglas, where he said he wanted to Igor Douglas. So he used his 7 missing dogs' names as a verb to his brother that... His brother's he wants to kill me. He's been trying to kill me for years. But when he was confronted about having 7 dogs, he said that's not true, that he only had 3 dogs named Igor, that one of them got run over, one died in surgery after eating an apple core, and then...
What? You would need to have surgery for that. Oh, is it the cyanide, Tom? I've been warning about the seeds.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But again, it's well, did you give him that to see what would happen?
Also, I think a dog can eat an apple core. I think that probably happens all the time, right?
And then he said
a husky can't eat an apple core? That seems suspect, right?
I think they probably wouldn't.
Can a dog eat an apple core? It came up as a suggested
As a
thing.
question, yeah. Well, probably because dogs...
Oh, rover.com. Can my dog eat apple cores? No. While apples are an affordable, low-calorie snack for dogs, the apple core isn't pet-friendly.
Yeah, that
the
makes
tough
sense.
center of the apple is a choking hazard, and the seeds contain very small amounts of cyanide.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I assume it's probably just because, it's too tough on, a dog's stomach. They probably can't pass it.
This is bullshit. No. If your dog is eating an apple core and doesn't appear to be having any trouble, there's no reason to immediately worry. The cyanide in apple seeds isn't a danger for after a single apple, but after the poison accumulates over long periods of... So he might have been feeding Igor a lot of apple cores just to see how much cyanide it would take to kill his dog.
Are you trying to claim that the Jinx is a liar? So he claimed the first Igor got run over, the second one died in surgery after eating an apple core, and that the third Igor was the Igor that, quote, lasted forever. And
he's got a good way of speaking.
And his brother is like, no, he bought 7 different dogs he named Igor and practiced killing and disposing of bodies with these dogs.
Right.
Which makes sense. Like, you know, all these, you know, he's never been caught red-handed.
Right. He's a genius, Tom.
And the one time he did somewhat get caught red-handed with this Morris Black, he wasn't caught with the head, and they hid the head.
Where do you think that head is?
He probably fed it to an Igor. That's probably how Igor 1 and 2 died. And then also I have in my notes that Robert Durst was in the Pandora Papers.
Well, I mean, no shock there.
Yeah. Although it is just crazy to me that, like, again, it's like you get to a certain level of rich, and even if you're like, nah, I'm going to go live in a boarding house in Galveston and murder people, it's still like, all right, well, we'll still give you an accountant to make sure you don't have to pay taxes. Or
yeah, God forbid the Jinx had to pay capital gains taxes.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just a crazy thing when you're just that rich. And again, that's why I find this entire case fascinating. A, because he seemingly, you know, didn't really. It's not that he didn't want anything to do with his wealth, because he still leaned on it when he needed to. But I guess he didn't use his wealth to, like, live a nice life.
Yeah, he just like hanging out in the gutter, and then I don't know, Galveston, Texas. I wouldn't want to live in a boarding house there.
Yeah,
doesn't seem pleasant.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of place where a guy like the Jinx might pretend to be a mute woman, and then murder you one day, cut up all of your body, and then throw it out, and then not go to jail for it.
So they made this documentary, The Jinx, where they pretty much documented everything he said, and it ends with him. Tom, this is my controversial take.
Yeah,
people are just like, he admits to it on a hot mic while he's going to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I contend the man admits to nothing on a hot mic.
Well, there was also controversy because they edited that.
Yeah, they took the words out of sequence, what he said.
Yeah, they changed up the sequence of what he was saying so that it seemed like it was escalating.
Yeah.
Like, you know, at first he's like, oh, God, what did I do? And then he's like, oh, you know, I can't believe I see. He was pulling a regular Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost said a Liam Neeson. Where they took his daughter, he went to the bathroom, he still had the mic on, and he's talking to himself. But yeah, then they edited it together. But I mean, that documentary, the whole thing, it was still the craziest thing because that was the finale, and he got arrested that night.
Yeah. I mean, I think, weren't they pissed? Weren't the producers of the show pissed that he got arrested before the episode aired? Because like I remember getting a New York Times push notification on my phone at like 5 p.m. that they had arrested the Jinx, and I was like, what happens in this last and like they're like, oh, all the dramatic tension has been
I mean, if they were pissed, then that's stupid, because that got me to like watch that episode right away.
Well,
because I was like,
don't call
shit,
them stupid, Tom.
Not...
They outwitted the Jinx, and that's more than you've ever done.
I've outwitted the Jinx. I'm alive, and he's not.
Is he, though?
Yeah, and also, like, who knows what trap he might have set up for me.
Yeah. And also, I feel like his family, his rich and powerful family, will still like go to bat for him, even though like he tried to murder his brother and stuff, or like showed up at it. Like, I feel like there's still a chance that the Jinx's brother will like find this episode and try to sue us for all we're worth for like speaking ill of. How dare you say that about my brother?
Yeah, I'm not worried about his brother murdering us like I was. I mean, the reason we've never actually done an episode about the Jinx is because he might find out.
Yeah, oh my God.
We only feel safe in doing it now that he's no longer with us. But yeah, I'm not worried about his brother in that way, but I am worried that his brother, is going to sue us or something. just add money to the old estate.
Right. But wait, hold on. At the end of the Jinx, when he's like, and the burping, I'm having difficulty with the question. What the hell did I do? I killed them all, of course.
Yeah.
He was speaking like the way that they're going to present this makes it seem like I'm saying, whoa, what did he killed them all, of course. Like, it's not him being like, I killed those people.
Yeah.
And they'll never get caught.
No, he didn't have to say that because it was true. He just had to think it.
Got away with it, yeah. He could say that and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
He could have gone like episode 1, like, I killed all those people.
Well, I mean, but that's like in all the episodes, like, there's a thing with how he misspells Beverly. And like he admits like, well, whoever wrote that killed her. And then it's like, well, this is your handwriting. It looks the same and you misspelled Beverly the same way. And he's like, oh, well.
Like, will you excuse me?
I have to go to the bathroom.
I'm never sure if it's EY or Y at the end of Beverly.
Well, you better figure it out, Tim, or else you're going to wind up going up the river one day.
Yeah, I better lawyer up.
Tim, do you miss the Jinx?
I don't think, you know what? I don't think we've lived in a Jinxless world for long enough for me to properly miss him.
Do you think they're going to figure out more murders that the Jinx did?
Maybe, but it also seems like they just like stopped trying to figure out stuff.
Yeah.
Like, unless like their hand was really forced.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No. I'm going to say no.
I could see them. He definitely did other ones, but that, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. That's your speculation.
That they're never going to find him out. I had no idea that apparently he is like a suspect for being the Long Island serial killer.
Oh, I mean, that's stupid. That's not true.
No, because the way he disposed of this guy's body, Morris Black, was very similar to the Long Island serial killer's victims.
No, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Are you mad that I'm besmirching the Jinx's good name? I'm just saying anything's possible. We don't know what this guy's capable of. I mean, and that case, like, whoever did do it, it's like, they almost got away with it. They did get away with it for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
So who knows?
We'll see what happens, Tom. I got my own theories, and you'll be hearing about those soon.
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. Hey, why not sign up to our Patreon? Patreon.com/complete guide. Books the podcast is back, baby. We're back to books.
I started reading The Hobbit.
The Hobbit. Tim is back in The Hobbit.
Ooh, that's good.
Like Sister Act 2.
Yeah.
You can get episodes of that if you're a real nerd and you like J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah. There's also a ton of, hundreds of other episodes of things? Books the podcast.
You get the whole back episode, too. There will be
the whole kit and caboodle.
A book for you, is what we like to say. Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, we're always saying it.
Follow us on Instagram at TCGTE. Follow us on Twitter at Complete Guide. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at Your Pal Tim.
And check out our subreddit, r/TCGTE. It's been quiet over there lately.
It has.
But calm before the storm.
Whoever you mean? What do you mean by the storm? Whoever was posting the post every week of like the episode recap and discussion, stop doing that. I think they got. It's like, why am I doing this? But that's why I got quiet. People just don't go there.
Hey, if that's you, reach out to us. Tell us why you stopped.
They're not listening anymore.
And we'll berate you into doing it again. Yeah. The
Discord's good too. Check out the Discord.
Yes. That's linked on tcgt.com. Tim, any final thoughts about the Jinx?
I'm still a little nervous that we'll get hours for messing with the Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, he got away with all those murders. I could see him getting away with pretending to die, and they're pulling the coroner's van out of the prison that he was in, and they're like, good thing that guy's dead now. And then all of a sudden you see the body bag rise up behind.
Yeah, and I think, my idea for doing the city to city, town to town tour of the Jinx's corpse. Number one, everybody get a nice thrill out of it, and you should put his body into like a menacing position. But number two, so people can see that the Jinx is actually dead. But then one day he breaks out of the glass and murders a college freshman.
I was gonna say, you do the tour of the Jinx's body, it'll terrify some people, but it'll put others at ease. And some of them both. Maybe some people will go in there and they'll be like, "Whew, I needed to see it with my own eyes, but now that I do, he's definitely." Oh, wait, did he just move? Did he just wink at me? Oh, no.
If the Jinx winked at me, oh, my God. I'd never sleep again. There'd be rumors that, like, if you went and saw the Jinx, he had put a curse on you and you have 7 years to live.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's, modern day going to be putting curses on people, it's going to be the Jinx.
Yeah. Be careful out there with the Jinx, everybody. It might not be safe yet.
Make sure if you go to the traveling Jinx exhibit, wear sunglasses or something so you don't have to look them right in the eye.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.